What's up? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me have some more RPG horror stories. Part of me was thinking of maybe doing these RPG horror stories like on stream. Actually, you know, it'd be really cool if we did like a live readout and live interaction on RPG horror stories. I think it'd be so cool. Like maybe hanging out a VR chat, maybe have Mary or Micah join us and just hanging out together, reading some stories or react to them live. I think that'd be really cool. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below and I'm gonna get some RPG horror stories up for today. Player gaslighting tunneled our game into the ground. Several years ago, my wife introduced me to a group of people she had met from work. DM's partner, and two people who are relevant, Rose and Alex. Name change, of course. DM introduced us to the world, and I made the choice to play a Wood of Arcane Trickster. Longbow proficiency, extra movement. He was attached to an organization that policed the illegal use of magic, necromancy, enchanting, politicians, etc. While researching and enchanting politicians, not politicians as a proverbial magic. Although politician magic should probably also be outlawed. While researching and containing artifacts and dangerous magical creatures. Think MIB means SCP Foundation, sans the level of secrecy. We started having an issue in session 1. Rose was playing a bard who took umbrage to me right out of the gate. I was conversing in character with my wife's paladin, and seemingly in character she started making snide remarks about my elf. My character, while having low charisma but decent int, wisdom, brushed it off and largely ignored it. Rose was pleasant out of game, and character it seemed to just really have an issue with my elf. The adventure continued from there in the usual way. We fought bandits, found treasure, made it to the big city, and took a quest to track a known necromancer for the bounty. All the while I was still suffering from side-eye and snide but dis-in-character remarks from the bard. I brought this up with the DM and asked if he could speak with her. Having a quirk with your PC for one reason or another is fine and dandy, but we're in a co-op game after all. Have you considered talking to Rose directly and asking like, hey, so what is that whole thing about? Just so I know out of character and stuff. Like maybe they have a crush on your character, but like, an elf, how lowly of you. And maybe they secretly have like a crush on elves. They're just trying to be like, act like a tsundere and stuff, trying to get your character's attention and stuff. I don't know, could be anything. And if you don't know what a tsundere is, I'm not gonna teach you weeb lingo. I'm gonna just let you Google that stuff for yourself. Have fun exploring that rabbit hole. Oh boy, howdy daddy, wait till you get to yanderes. Woo! Anyway, let's continue. Necromancer evades us for a while, but we managed to track her to a haunted wood that was a site of an ancient battlefield, and she had managed to rustle up a small army of skeletons. I tried to get close to her, but suffered some bad rolls and nasty crits from her white bodyguard. He dropped me, but the party managed to clean up the skeleton and kill the necromancer, but notably not a single heal from the bard when I was making death saves. Wife's paladin was on the other side of the fight, so no lay on hands available. Sadly, 'twas the death of my elf. The party tried to finagle a ritual using some magic item we acquired, begrudging the bard case, but the rolls were against us, so he stayed dead. That is actually really weird. Why would the bard not heal up a party member like that? I mean, okay, so on one hand, if your player character has some sort of an issue with elves that's for roleplay only, that's one thing. But this is a party member that you're traveling with and doing quests and jobs with. Why would you be traveling with them if you don't like him even iota, even a bit? In character, you may dislike him, but as a player, if somebody is down, why would you just not throw up like a, I don't know, healing word or cure wounds if you have that, you know? If you have a healing spell that you can provide for a party member or in some way to assist them, even if your character roleplays themselves begrudgingly helping somebody out, you should still as a player try to help them out, because I mean otherwise it's just counterintuitive. Listen, I may dislike the whole party that I'm traveling with as Morrow, you know, not me as person but me as Morrow. I may dislike the people in my party. Maybe they're rambunctious, they're crazy, they're too nonchalant and stuff. I don't know, whatever, they got quirks, you know, I have no idea. I'm in a party full of succubi and I don't trust each and every single one of them because I think they're gonna do something horrible to me, something like that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, as a player, I'm gonna play cooperatively, and if somebody's down and I can help them, I'm gonna make sure to help them and assist them in some capacity that I totally can, wherever I can, no matter what I am doing and no matter what I'm role-playing as. It doesn't matter how you role-play, as long as you play IRL, you yourself as a player, play well with others, throw in whatever roleplay you want, be as snide and critical as you want, or as unpleasant as you want, as long as you play well with the party party and with the rest of the players, then you can roleplay as whatever. But it feels like this bard is kind of taking the "it's what my character would do" a little bit too seriously, a little bit too harshly. If pulling a "it's what my character would do" is overriding and making it more unpleasant of having you in the party, then you're not doing the "it's what my character would do" correctly. The party returned to the capital city, and I like to have backup characters baked into the story and life on my current character so I can keep narrative lines flowing from character to character if necessary. So my tiefling dragon sorceress in the same organization was waiting for them and asking where her boyfriend was. Now it was my turn to return fire. My tiefling got the story of what happened from the party, got to very directly ask why nobody was keeping an eye on who needed healing. The bard left the building we were all in the same time, and the meeting split up. At this time, I was frustrated that my character got killed, but chalked it up to drama in game, and nothing ever escalated above board aside from my conversation with the DM. A few sessions later, the DM announced that the bard would be leaving the table for unexplained reasons, but put together a short one-shot of a bard troupe her character had come from and would be departing with pre-written characters. Honestly, I was pleased. No more side-eye nonsense. But I didn't want to be the sourpuss and bring the mood down, so I hammed it up with this Valor bard I had been given, got some laughs out of everyone, and she left the game. Now it's just myself, wife, DM wife, and Alex. I was kind of a perfect companion at that point. My character reunited with the dragon parent, wife Pally confronted abusive father, DM wife adventure clan, Alex redeemed his mercenary troop from past sins, good stuff. Right after a big climax fight, Rose reached out to my wife and wanted to have lunch with the two of us. Jobs had changed, but wife had kept in touch with her. We got there and she started apologizing to me profusely. Here's where the horror really starts. She's showing us texts and Facebook messages with Alex, who was her boyfriend at the time of the campaign. Turns out the reason she left the game was because of a messy breakup with Alex, because she found out he was gaslighting her to think I was abusing my wife? Wait. No. Hold on. So the whole time, the reason why Rose didn't like your elf and didn't exactly play well with you and let your character die was because Alex was telling that you were abusing your wife that was playing with you guys in the campaign? Oh, what? Homeboy had an unrequited crush on my spouse and the DM's partner and could never let it go even after getting with Rose. So exploited her and convinced her I was abusing my wife. What? Wait, this is crazy. This is insane. So you had a crush on your wife, had a crush on DM's wife, and now using Rose to basically screw you over in some way? What? And aside from my said wife, who I had fact-checked me, we learned from Rose during lunch that this dude would specifically target and date women who would have mental health issues and could easily be manipulated. Ooh, okay. I was thinking there was gonna be some gaslighting over at the table and stuff. I didn't realize that this was gonna be some sort of a mastermind BBG kind of guy that was little manipulating a poor girl that just wanted to play some D&D just to be a jerk to somebody because the guy had a crush on the guy's wife and the DM's wife and stuff. What? That is insane. It's like some sort of a twist of villain kind of stuff. Shyamalan twist, dude. Holy hell. Shyamalama ding dong twist. Goddamn. Lunch continued and we all talked it out and made up. Afterwards, we took DM aside and told him the story and explained he wouldn't be able to continue with Alex in the game. He understood and the campaign ended. Never outed Alex to his face, dude knew where I lived. I've since moved. Interesting part is learning that what made her double check her ex's story about me, it was how genuine I was playing the doofy bard in her little going away one shot. Why would someone who I've been told is awful ham it up for me? If there's a moral to this story, remember that TTRPGs are co-op experiences. If you're attacking party members verbally or with dice rolls, you're in the wrong game. Dude was trying to play freaking D&D PvP, but with IRL, using the poor Rose, poor girl, as like a character sheet, basically. He was manipulating her the whole time. Necromancer that's trying to raise the old unrequited love and enchanting to enchant Rose to do his bidding. The campaign was literally about Alex the whole time. Oh my god, it's funny how it all kinds of adds up together, but it's still so crazy too. Alex Alex sounds insane. He sounds unhinged. If you ever meet somebody like Alex, I hope you do not, but if you meet somebody like Alex, or you know who Alex is, stay away from him. He sounds like a master manipulator, master gaslighter, and somebody that goes after people. Also really messed up. The fact that he goes after somebody just because they're easy to manipulate and stuff, that's really fucked up. That's honestly so fucked up. Poor Rose got caught up in this for no reason whatsoever. I mean, I'm glad she told you about it at the end of the day, and at least, like, things ended okay, I guess. What a crazy story, though. Anyway, let's see if the next story is just as crazy. Player believes rules don't apply to him, is shocked when consequences come. Let me preface this by saying that this is a throwaway account, and all names I use in this story are aliases. I don't want anyone to hunt down the people involved like bloodthirsty assassins. Harvey Dent and I had been friends for 3 years. We had our fair share of good memories and spent a lot of time together. I'd always try to cheer him up when he was down, and we were close enough that I got him Christmas and birthday gifts. Only ever got a gift in return once. It was a few months late, which should have been a red flag in retrospect. Things were always kind of dicey with Harvey. He'd often make promises that he never followed through on, despite me reminding him several times, and he always had an excuse for why he couldn't do it. Not messaging me back for 24 hours or more without explaining why, and act passive-aggressive towards me rather than attempting to communicate whenever he had problems. I'd even ask him if he had any issues with me, and he'd insist things were fine, though I knew they were not. But you're wondering what this has to do with tabletop RPGs. Well, Harvey was pretty lonely and always had difficulty making friends, so I invited him to my campaign because I thought it would help him with that. It used a highly customizable D20 system I homebrewed myself to give the players loads of freedom to be creative. It was set in the universe of populated shonen anime. Here's a quick rundown of what other players present when it all went down. Hoshiko, my adorable loving girlfriend. She's always been there for me, especially throughout the stress of this RPG horror story, and I greatly appreciate that. She plays a stealth-focused character. Alan, a close friend of mine and experienced GM himself, currently GM a campaign that I'm in as well. His character is a jack of all trades with some fun gimmicks. Ava, a former player's ex-girlfriend, and the only new person to join the campaign after Harvey arrived. Her character is debuff focused. At the point where our horror story begins, Harvey had been in the campaign for almost 2 years. Ava had just joined a few months ago, and 2 other players had to leave due to being too busy in one case, or me finding out they were a total creep in the case of Ava's ex-boyfriend. I had 3 simple rules in place. Provide advance notice if you cannot attend a session, at least an hour, but preferably a day. Attend 1 session a month, and don't repeatedly violate your fellow players' stated boundaries. I pinned the rules to the campaign group chat and made sure I reminded my players of the rules in case they were to forget. And the first 2 rules had obvious exceptions for emergencies. Anyway, Harvey followed all these rules super well, probably because coming to the session had the incentive of his character getting to make out with my favorite canon character. We had no problems, until we did. At first he followed the rules, with the exception of accidentally sleeping through 2 sessions, which, that's fair I guess, and he did apologize for it afterwards. I'll let that slide. Harvey would also only do non-sexual session-related roleplay if I privately roleplayed explicit erotica of his favorite canon character banging his character in return. A little weird, but okay. But one session, less than an hour beforehand, Harvey said he had been feeling out of it all day and couldn't attend the session. After he just didn't tell me until then without even warning me that he might not be able to make it. To add insult to injury, I had ended my vacation early just to run the session, and I had hyped it up as the extremely important climax of an arc that everyone had to be there for. I called Harvey out on this, saying that it was socially inappropriate to cancel last minute like this, which was disrespecting both my time and the time of the other players. Told him that I didn't even mind if he was late, he just had to be there. Things seemed fine, until he suddenly disappeared on the day of the next session. Didn't text, didn't call, nothing. Harvey went MIA for almost 3 weeks. I pinged him a few times a week, both expressing concern and also warning him that I would have to remove him from the campaign if he skipped a whole month of sessions, as these were the rules. Nothing personal. I never got a reply, and Harvey missed the last session of the month. I didn't want to do this, but rules were rules, and I couldn't make any more exceptions. He'd already broken the rule of informing me he couldn't make a session, not once but twice. I removed him from the campaign group chat, and explained to Harvey in DMs that I was only doing that because he had broken 2 out of the 3 of the rules I clearly set up. Lo and behold, Harvey returned the next day to say he was blocking me and unfriending me and never wanted to speak to me again. And he went on a long list of all the things I had done wrong in our 3-year-long friendship that he never communicated with me. Can we get a list of what the things that he done? Because I mean, we're kind of coming up with only a few paragraphs left over and stuff, but I do wonder, like, why only when you decided to put your foot down with Harvey suddenly speaks up, stands up and says all this without letting you know ahead of time? Look, like, I get it if he was, let's say, for example, busy or going through something really, really bad or horrible, but you would at least give some sort of a notice to the DM that's running stuff for you, right? I would assume. I mean, I would try to. I would definitely want to, especially with the sessions coming up. I literally can't make it because something else came up. My dog is on fire. My regular corgi, I don't know why corgis are just really cute. My corgi went to the 9 hells. I need to retrieve him back because I can't live with that. Oh, what's a good corgi name? Mr. Fuzzy Butt, because they have, you know, corgis have the butts and stuff. Mr. Fuzzy Butt is in the hells. I can't live without him. I'm sorry, DM. I gotta go. You know, if that's the situation, then I would of course let somebody know what's going on. But otherwise, just being a no-show and just ghosting your DM and just not communicating even slightly, not even bare minimum, yeah, that would feel very, you know, insulting. You had to do what you had to do, DM. Let's continue though. There's still a lot more to this. With this timing, it was clear that removing him from the campaign was the last straw that led him blocking me. Despite me, you know, warning him about it several times and making it clear what would happen if he didn't follow the rules. After Harvey blocked me, I found out from a mutual friend that Harvey had been talking badly about me to them, calling me nasty, a traitor, and a toxic person. The worst part is that I know for a fact I wasn't the only GM Harvey treated this way. Ellen also had Harvey in his campaign for a brief time, and Harvey kept skipping sessions and not responding to Ellen's pings where he asked if everyone could make it. Update: so the campaign has been going much smoother without Harvey. Thankfully, all players confirmed that he was never weird to any of them, which I suspect would be the case because they were stunned when I revealed he was coercing me into writing smut for him. There were a lot of issues I had with Harvey, ghosting me for 3 weeks and not informing me he wouldn't be able to make it to the session, which is kind of the last straw. Happy to say I removed any lingering traces of him from my life, old stories he shares with me on Google Doc, etc., and also blocked him in return, just in case the weirdo unblocks me to crawl back and beg for forgiveness. Sorry not sorry, Harvey. Done with you and your BS. Never again. I feel like the guy probably just really talked to you and stuff because he offered the ERP spicy talk afterwards, or ERP like roleplay talk, because I really don't know, dude, honestly. Actually, you know what? After the stories that I've heard from some friends on VR chat, some people are indeed gooner brained and only will be friends with somebody just because they can ERP with them and just do the nasty dirty VR stuff with them, and that's really why they become friends with them. It actually got to the point, I remember she specifically said that she just didn't feel like being on, like hanging out with people, because most people just want to like ping her and like send her invites on VR chat and stuff whenever she's on, simply because they just want to like not even hang out and stuff. They just want to straight up ERP. Some people are straight up gooner brained. They'll focus on the gooner stuff or maybe some of the perverted stuff, and everything else will just completely ignore. Listen, if you're gonna be ERPing with your homies and stuff, at least be a good homie and at least kiss him goodnight afterwards, or at least make him breakfast in the morning afterwards. Either way, Harvey just sounds like a kind of person that has a very one-track mind, a very non-communicative. Whatever Harvey got going on, it's probably not even worth dealing with, because if Harvey can communicate it well enough to at least let you know that he's not gonna be able to make it beforehand, you know, and explain why he's not gonna be able to make it, maybe just not worth really having Harvey around at that point. If he's just a problem player and difficult to get along with, then it is what it is, I guess. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.